I'm really grateful, obviously, to the people that funded it, the Candidate Council who kicked in some money, and Suncor, obviously, and then the Biennial, and then the Gay and Lesbian Fund. It's just like amazing. So all these amazing groups of people that are coming together to have me here, which is really nice. So what I'll do, I guess, seeing as we're kind of, I don't know if everybody can see the laptop and where they're at, but I thought I would do is talk a little bit, kind of use some of the images on the laptop, and then we can kind of move away from that and maybe kind of look at the work itself, because that's probably a really good way to kind of go about it, seeing as it's right there. You don't need to look at, experience it through a computer. So one of the things that I wanted to sort of just quickly talk about, did everybody kind of see when you're at? I don't know. These laptop monitors, they're kind of funky. So I just want to talk a little bit about my educational background, and I'm from British Columbia, and I grew up on Vancouver Island, and where I started getting into ceramics, it kind of really started in '94, and I apprenticed with two potters in Chemamis, which is this little kind of tourist trap of a town, but they were these really great potters that were generous enough to open up their studio to me, and I got to see sort of the inner workings of the pottery studio. So I guess my formal training started off very much in the sort of grassroots functional pottery tradition. From there, I went to Malaspina University, or Malaspina University College at the time, and that's in Nanaimo, which is my hometown, home of the Nanaimo Bar. I don't know if you've had that sugar bomb of a tree, but anyhow. So, and then from there I went to the Nova Scotia College of Art and Design, and I'm a big fan, I was saying this earlier, I'm a big fan of traveling and getting an education. It's kind of like a really good way to go. After NASCAD, I kind of moved, or after that I went, talk about crazy things you do when you get out of undergrad. I thought, I had the world by the tail, and I thought, well, I'm going to go travel to India, because I know, like, my godfather's uncle is a potter in Greta, which is like in the foothills of the Himalayas. And I thought, oh, I can do this, right? And I get there, and I freaked out. I was just like, what am I doing here? I came back and I weighed 120 pounds. It was really bad. But that being said, it was really, really an amazing time. And while I was there, I got to see the really really big difference between what my practice was as a ceramic artist and making these kind of sculptural kinds of things. And then when I was in India, they're making pots to kind of turn into, they'll trade it for grain, or they'll, get money and then trade it for grain, or whatever. And it was very much about sort of survival. And I felt really self-indulgent as an artist, because here I am kind of musing with this material and blah, blah, blah. So that was a really wide, or a big eye-opener. Now from there, so after school, I did a bunch of different things. I did some teaching at a private school, a high school kind of deal. And then after that, I decided to open up my own pottery studio and give that a shot as a production potter. And then I also got involved in a ceramic supplier and selling ceramic, like, clay and wheels and kilns and all that sort of stuff. Now, all of those things, as I was kind of, at one point I was doing all three at one time, and I still wasn't really satiated in terms of, I was kind of doing ceramics, but I really kind of wasn't, in my mind. So at that point, I went to grad school, which I came down to the States, again, sort of the traveling school deal, and I went to Southern Illinois University in Edwardsville, which is another alum, which is awesome. While I was there, I studied under Paul Gersang and Matt Wilt. And I kind of, like most grad students, they just kind of go where they see work that they really like, and they kind of want to work with one of those instructors. And the same thing was for me. Now, sort of continuing on the educational kind of thing, I had an opportunity, and I did a residency, short residency, 3-month residency, at the Archie Gray Foundation, which is in Helena, Montana. And for those people like in the ceramic world, that is like a really sort of amazing place. It is almost like the Black Mountain College of ceramics. Like, people go there, and like people come out of there, and the who's who go there, and like they start there. It's really amazing. And like Peter Volkus, who's a really amazing person, now since passed away, was there, and Rivalio, and anyhow, it's a really great place. And there was, they have a summer residency program, and they have a long-term program. program. The summer residency program, again, was only 3 months, and you come and you work with 10 other artists. And they already had 10 other artists on site, so it's like 20 of us all hanging out. And it was really definitely one of those places where you had to bring your A game, or you were just like, you know, the competition was pretty fierce to get in there. And so that was a really, really great experience. And one of the really amazing things is, on the premises, it's an old, what was it? It was an old brick factory. And all of that stuff is really falling down. Like all the old factory buildings are boarded up, and you know, some of the residents knew how to get into the rooms, and so you'd be crawling around, and like you could see other artists had been there because they'd left their artwork. But the other thing is that they have these amazing shard piles, and anybody that's worked with ceramics will know that sometimes it mocks you like no other medium will. And you'll work on this piece a lot, and then it comes out of the kiln and it's broken in two. Well, what they've done, they've got the shard pile throughout the entire premises, and so it's like this living database where you can kind of go through and check out people's work, and you're just like, oh my god, this is, you know, Akio Takamori, and like, he's a really big dog in Seattle, and it's just like, it blows your mind, the kind of work that's even database on the premises. The other kind of cool thing is like, again, you know, you're working with people that work with the same material as you do, and work completely different than you do. What I do, I would call it vessel-based sculpture, and the person next to me was working really figuratively, and then the person on the other side of me was working within the functional tradition. And so, but everybody's working at the top of their game, and it's really a dynamic place. This is Peter Morgan, and he makes the most insane work I've ever seen. That's a giant ice cream cone that he made, and I think he finished it off with little goats, like mountain goats climbing up the side of it. It was just hysterical. The other piece that he donated, he made this giant Slurpee cup, and it was about this big, you know, from the ground, and then he had like model Titanics like sinking, like going up and sinking in this Slurpee frosting. It was so really funny work. The other thing that happened, of course, I don't know if you can see that, you'd have like blindfolded throwing contests. So there was a lot of great camaraderie, and obviously that's after a couple of beers. I don't know if you can see those, but you know, those ridiculous things that happen in the studio late at night that you just don't get when you're working by yourself. Well, I guess it could happen, but that's a different issue. So, continuing on these ideas of education and traveling, I got an opportunity, I had gotten a Canada Council grant to go travel, and it's amazing. Again, you know, I'm talking about that system that we have in Canada. I applied for this grant, and basically was, I want to go to Japan, go check out toys, and then come back and make work. And they're like, okay, here you go, you know. And it's pretty nice. And so I got there right at the time where like H1N1 was blowing up. And Japan, oh my god, they freaked out. And when I got on the plane, they gave us these masks to wear to board off the plane. And it was like a scene from E.T. Like the guys were walking around in hazmat suits and like infrared detectors to see who had a cold. And it was absurd. But it was really amazing at the same time. Now Japan is really, maybe some of you guys have traveled there, but it's an amazing culture because there's so much history living all the time throughout Japan. And like I was in Kyoto for a good while and got to see a lot of temples and stuff like that. But the main reason I went is to go check out the robots. And I went to go find the really nerdiest places in Tokyo and Kyoto, and I wanted to go there and hang out and go check out robots and go check out the toys, because you can kind of see where that was going. And it was a real blast to kind of see all that culture that was going on. And you know, I made an opportunity to go to Tokyo, Disney Tokyo, which is awesome. And if you have not lived until you've seen a young Japanese teenager dressed up as a hillbilly, it's awesome. And you're just like, wow, my mind is totally blown. It's like the Huckleberry Finn thing. That was really great. So, okay, so that's Japan, and actually right now, I took time I'm in a residency right now, you may not be able to tell, but I'm in this residency in Alberta, in this town called Medicine Hat. And Medicine Hat is this really weird place because, well, for many reasons, but the main reason is that they used to have a China factory there that made all the Chinese